Have you ever faced moments in life where everything seemed to be going wrong and you couldn't see a way out? Have you wondered why certain trials come into your life, leaving you questioning the bigger picture? Imagine if there were an answer that not only gave you peace, but also radically transformed how you see those challenges. Today, we're diving into one of the most gripping and impactful stories from the Bible, a passage that speaks directly to these existential questions and shows us the power of trusting in the Lord's plan. Welcome back, my friends. Today we'll explore Genesis chapters 19 through 23, a powerful narrative that holds timeless truths and divine lessons we all need. This is the story of Lot, Abraham, and how God's plan unfolds in ways we can't always predict or understand, but that ultimately lead to our ultimate good. In Genesis 19, we find a dramatic scene. Lot and his family are living in the ancient city of Sodom, a place riddled with sin and corruption. God's angels arrive, warning Lot to leave the city with his family because divine intervention is imminent. The urgency and gravity of this moment are palpable. Lot hesitates, but the angels take hold of his hand and with divine insistence lead him and his family out, telling them to flee for your lives, don't look back. As Sodom is engulfed in divine wrath, Lot's wife disobeys the command and looks back, turning into a pillar of salt. The message here is clear and haunting. Obedience to God's instructions, even when they seem severe or irrational, is crucial for our survival and well-being. Now, let's move forward to Genesis 22, where we encounter one of the most profound tests of faith recorded in the Bible, Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his beloved son, Isaac. Think about this. Abraham had waited decades for this promised child, and now God was asking him to give up that most precious blessing. Most of us can't even fathom the gut-wrenching emotions Abraham must have felt, and yet, with unwavering trust, he prepared to follow God's command. As he raised the knife, an angel of the Lord intervened, sparing Isaac and providing a ram in his place. What can we learn from these stories? These passages teach us about absolute trust in God's plan, even when it seems incomprehensible. They demonstrate that God's timing and methods often defy human logic, but they are always perfect and purposeful. Firstly, let's discuss patience. Lot hesitated despite the urgency of the angel's warning. Isn't that often us, holding on to familiar but toxic situations because we fear the unknown? Lot's hesitation nearly cost him everything. Patience is not passivity, but an active trust in God's timing. It's about moving forward even when we don't see the destination. Abraham's test illustrates the epitome of faith and trust. Can you imagine preparing to sacrifice something you've waited your whole life for? Abraham's readiness to sacrifice Isaac shows an unparalleled level of faith, and it challenges us to reflect on our willingness to surrender our plans for God's greater purpose. It's a call to trust that God is good, and his plans, though sometimes unfathomable, are ultimately for our benefit. Historically, these narratives unfold in a time of harsh landscapes and severe trials, much like the emotional and spiritual deserts we navigate today. Lot's escape from Sodom and Abraham's test on Mount Moriah highlight the omnipresent and omnipotent nature of God, who guides us even in dire circumstances. The angels grabbing Lot's hand, a divine rescue mission, can be seen as a metaphor for how God reaches into our lives at critical points, steering us towards salvation. So how do we apply these lessons today? Are you facing stormy seas that seem impossible to navigate? Think of Lot, urged out of disaster by divine hands. Are you holding on to dreams and plans, afraid to trust them to God's will? Remember Abraham, who found unimaginable blessing in surrender. Here's what I want you to do. Take a moment to reflect on a challenge or trial you're facing. Ask yourself, am I hesitating like Lot, or am I trusting like Abraham? Sometimes the hardest thing is to let go and let God, but this surrender can lead to unimaginable peace and blessings. If you feel moved by this message and believe that God has a bigger plan for your life, leave a comment saying, I believe and wait. Let's stand together in faith and remind each other that we are not alone. As we wrap up this sermon, think about the power of trusting the Lord's plan. It's not just a cliche, but a life-transforming principle. God's interventions in our lives, whether through dramatic rescues or through testing our faith, are designed to bring us closer to Him and prepare us for greater purposes. So often, the trials we face are not the end, but the beginning of something magnificent. Stay tuned for our next exploration into Genesis 24, where we'll delve deeper into the journey of Abraham's servant and the divine orchestration in finding Isaac's bride. I promise you, the lessons there are just as impactful and will continue to guide you on this incredible spiritual journey. In the meantime, embrace the unknown with a heart full of faith. Trust that even in the darkest hours, God's hand is upon you, guiding your steps and crafting a future far more beautiful than you can imagine. Thank you for joining me today. Remember, God's plans may be mysterious, but they are always perfect. Until next time, may your faith be steadfast, your heart be hopeful, and your spirit be bold.